So, there are some fake rumors going around that Dory, an artist for Dressed to Impress, has quit, and as a result, a bunch of people have been dogpiling the other Dressed to Impress artists, and it's gotten so bad that Dory had to come out and make a response asking people to stop harassing their friends. So, obviously, guys, there's a lot to talk about today, and before we get started, I do want to clarify that this is all posted publicly. It falls under fair use. However, I did blur any usernames or profile pictures of people who had some negative things to say, just because I don't want anybody getting harassed. Now, with that in mind, for those of you that may not know who Dory is, which they actually go by a different name as their TikTok handle, but this is their display name, they are basically one of the core artists for Dressed to Impress. And you'll probably recognize their work from the character illustrations that were in the game. So stuff like the pirate, I believe the heart character was also drawn by Dory, a lot of the faces as well. You can kind of tell Dory's style by like the gloss on the lips and stuff like that. There's certain stylistic choices that Dory always does, and those are Dory's works that are currently present in the game. Dory has also been a main contributor to the Dressed to Impress packaging for the dolls and stuff like that, which you will see. And we're going to get into the doll whole debacle in a second here, because there was some stuff from the dolls that led people to believing that Dory had left Dressed to Impress. Now, basically, from what I can understand, and keep in mind this is from perspective of an outsider looking in, when the Dressed to Impress Valentine's Day update launched, a lot of players were not happy with the new faces, and they believed that the new faces weren't very good, which I'm not going to give my opinions on them because I personally haven't seen the ones these people are dogging on, but basically they were just saying that they didn't like the faces and that they want Dory back, because to my understanding, there was multiple artists who work in Dressed to Impress, and one of the artists was responsible for making some of the faces, and a bunch of people are basically saying because they believed that artist's faces were not very good, they wanted Dory to come back and make quote-unquote better faces, which is obviously not very nice. Now, part of this whole kind of misunderstanding seems to have stemmed from the dolls that were released. So this is the next wave of dolls that are going to be coming to stores. And as you can see, every doll on the packaging on the left-hand side has a picture of the character in-game. Now, if you take a look, you can see the one on the far left has this drawing, which is pretty obviously drawn by Dory based on the stylistic choices and just how the character looks. And then if we switch this middle one and the far right one, the characters don't look like the same style. Now, obviously, I can't tell for sure who made what drawing, and it's kind of hard to tell. Of course, the lawn is made by Dory because you can see that, but the two characters on the ends here, they don't look like anything like the art on the left on this side of the screen. So a lot of people are speculating that it's a different artist, or that Dory was fired, or that she left, and that was apparently why there wasn't quote-unquote good faces in the Valentine's Day update, which it's like, okay. But basically, this kind of seems to be where people start to get the idea that maybe Dory wasn't working for Dressed to Impress anymore. And basically, Dory's comments on TikTok became flooded with these kind of comments, which reads, "Dory, we need right now. The makeups are looking awful and weird, but the way you make the makeup is super gorge. Don't mean any hate to, we'll just call them Mel. I'm not quite sure how to say the first part, but I guess this is another artist that's in the game, and a lot of people have been basically just dogpiling on this artist for quote-unquote not having good makeup, which I think is just such a dumb thing to do, because you don't personally have to like everything, but also like art is very much open to interpretation and what other people think, and just because you don't like something doesn't mean other people don't like it, and it's just a very weird thing to talk so poorly about somebody's work when you yourself could probably not even draw a straight smiley face. Like, what are you yapping about? But whatever. Now this person writes, "Dory, come back to Dressed to Impress. The new faces look awful." This person writes, "Come back to Dressed to Impress. Faces in the new update is killing this for real." And so people are liking this comment. It has almost 300 likes. And this person says, "Dory, please come back. The new makeup artist is terrible. I need better preset faces. I don't have custom makeup." So basically it sounds like the faces that were added to the pre-made catalog section, according to these people, were not good enough, and they were very unhappy with the other artists who created them. Now, this became such a big issue, which, keep in mind, these are some comments that I found very easily just by scrolling a couple scrolls on their most recent video. So it's not like these are hidden. Like, there is a lot of comments like this, which is really unfortunate. And it got so bad that Dory put out an official statement, and their statement reads, "Further reminder that you can always compliment my work without bringing the other makeup artists down." So this signifies to me that there are multiple people, I guess, who draw makeup for Dressed to Impress, which that's to be assumed, right? Obviously, if it's a big game and you're having lots of updates, it would be a lot of pressure to just have one artist. So they do have multiple artists. Then Dory goes on to say, "Hateful messages in my comment sections about my friend's work are not appreciated. You can always give constructive criticism and share your opinion in a respectful manner, and we will listen." And that's the thing. I feel like so many people just take any form of criticism and label it constructive. That's not what constructive criticism is. Constructive criticism is when you genuinely want to help somebody, and maybe you compliment your work and then say, "Hey, this is really good. The only way I think you could make it better is maybe if you did this." Not just straight up saying, "This is terrible, I hate it." You know what I mean? Like, and I think unfortunately it comes to like a media literacy issue where people just don't understand how their comments come across. And I feel like, not to get like all like philosophical or anything, but I feel like a lot of kids nowadays, and I'm sure some of these commenters are also adults, But judging by the grammar of all of these seem like they are just kids who don't quite understand how much of an impact their words can carry. And I think it's really unfortunate that people just kind of like fail to acknowledge how much power they have on the internet, especially when they are talking poorly about somebody else's work. Like, obviously, that artist is going to see those comments eventually, especially if you're commenting them on their friend's profile. And it's just very bizarre to compare other artists because just because maybe you don't like one artist style does not mean that the other artist is inherently untalented or bad, right? Art is all about having different artistic styles. If you just have a copy and paste the exact same art style, then it wouldn't be interesting anymore. You know what I mean? So I say it's a very, very bizarre thing to do. Then Dory goes on to say, and for those who did share constructive feedback, thank you. We will try to work on these things. They're going to say also, many people are saying I quit working for Dress to Impress. So again, here are the faces for this update. I've been busy preparing for art university, but I'll make more faces next time. So we can see that there are two faces that Dory made for this update, which are two very pretty faces. Now, a question that I have and that I'm genuinely curious about, which this may sound kind of abstract and confusing, so I'm going to try to explain it to the best of my ability. But were people under the impression that these were faces made by the other artist, or did they understand that these were made by Dory? Because that's where I feel like there's kind of like a logical fallacy here, in the sense that if people are under the impression that Dory doesn't work there anymore, I feel like they would criticize any piece of artwork or face, add to the game, and just calling it not as good. And so I'm wondering if people maybe called these faces not good or something like that, thinking it was the other artist, and then realized it was Dory, and then had like an immediate switch up. Because regardless of the art, I've never looked at a face in Dress to Impress and been like, oh, that's ugly. Never once. And to be fair, I'm not like super active in Dress to Impress, but there's never been a singular time where I picked a face and I'm like, oh. Like, every face has something to offer, and I definitely do think people are being very harsh. It just kind of seems like to me that people are kind of playing favoritism, in the sense that a lot of people really admire Dory, and I think people almost have like this parasocial relationship where they want Dory to be the only artist that can be present in Dress to Impress, and any other artist is a threat to their favorite artist, which that's very clearly not how Dory feels. Like, these are, according to Dory, they're friends, and so it is really unfortunate that people are trying to like pin artists against each other. And that's something even I see with my content, is that I'll make a video that's maybe on a similar topic to one that another commentary creator made like the day before, not because I saw their video, just because we're in the same niche and that's just how it works. And then people are trying to pin us against each other, being like, oh my god, this person copied you, you copied them, and all this sort of stuff. And it just creates so much unnecessary tension. The same thing goes the other way. Like, I have a VTuber in my videos, some other commentary creator tried to have one in their videos, and everybody was attacking them, saying they're copying me, and I'm like, I don't own a VTuber, like the right to have a VTuber. That's kind of bizarre. It's just very bizarre that people, I think out of like they're trying to be nice and trying to advocate for you, subconsciously create weird tensions between you and other creators. And I feel like this is exactly what is happening in this situation. And that shouldn't be the case. Dory shouldn't have to come out and defend their friends and try to like obviously maintain friendships with their friends while they're being attacked by alleged Dory fans on Dory's behalf when Dory never wanted that. Like, it just creates so much unnecessary drama between creators, and it really just isn't healthy. And so what I would say is, if you don't like somebody's work, that's okay. You don't have to like parade around that you hate their work on social media. Like, the whole point of that is just very attention seeking, in my opinion. I think it just isn't very healthy. You should probably go touch grass if that's what you're doing. But again, you're always entitled to having your opinion, but voicing your opinion in a respectful way where you aren't bringing other people down, or you aren't trying to pin creators against each other, is really important, because you're not going to be taken seriously if all you do is say, I hate this, and then dogpiling someone and encouraging other people to harass that person. So regardless, I do think the situation is just very unfortunate, and I am obviously happy that Dory has spoken out about it and has set the record straight. So for any keyboard warriors who are in her comments basically inciting hate towards other artists, please remember that these are, according to Dory, their friends, and let's not do that. You're allowed to not like artists' work, but bringing them down and comparing them to other people, especially when people have a lot of stuff going on in their real life, it's just not needed. It really isn't. At the end of the day, it's pixelated drawings, which they're very good, but it's not worth people ending friendships over. So with that in mind, please be mindful of how your words can impact others, and let me know your thoughts on this down below, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye!